Hey guys, it's Jara for another wonderful round of Patreon questions and answers. Let's get started. What was the best thing about your summer so far? Well, Stacy and I had the lovely privilege of getting to spend a weekend with our dear friends Rocky and Abigail, who had recently emigrated to Savannah, Georgia. It was my first time in the South. I've never really been as far south as St. Louis, Missouri before, and just a really eye-opening, delightful experience to examine the history and the current history of the city, to see how specifically the Savannah College of Art and Design has reinvigorated the town, and also take part in learning more about how my friends' lives are doing. Also, we got to plan the wedding script a little bit too, and that was fun. Have you ever been mystified by finding something that you thought was once lost forever? This is a bit of a long story. When I was started acting in college, I was lucky enough to take part in my freshman musical that spring year called The Three Penny Opera by Bertolt Brecht. And I was one of the chorus. And we grew really close, the cast. And there was this impromptu cast party in the middle of rehearsal at Jenna and Mattiello's house. And we all stayed up pretty late. And we were having fun, eating, drinking, so forth. And unbeknownst to us, like around, I'd say 11 o'clock, maybe midnight, in comes in the director, David Ackles. Now, David was just really a suave, one of a kind guy, like gravelly voiced, because from like decades of smoking, but he had stopped around that time. And he just had a charm to him, like this indefatigable charm. A guy who was sweet, but also just no nonsense. This is what I'm going to give you. This is what I need from you as a director. And David came in with his wife and I believe one of his sons. And he took off his coat, and the people at this time had been gathering around one of Jenna's pianos and playing songs, and people were singing along. And people started asking David, David, play something, play something. And David demurred and said, nah, I'm just here to just have fun. But they kept at it, and finally he relented and said, okay, okay. And he sat down and he began to play this. And I remember just listening. I was sitting on the carpet. There was about 20, 25 other people there in the party. And everyone stopped talking. They were just eyes open, mouths slightly open. Everyone stopped breathing for a little. It was like a hypnotic spell just took over the room. And he played song after song for about maybe 45 minutes. And then when it was done, he went. He left. He said it was late. He had to go. And that was that. And all in all, he didn't really mention much after that. He did the show. It was a great run of the show. And that year, my freshman year at USC ended. Now, this is 1997, internet, mind you, so it's a little bit sketchy. It's a little bit hard to find stuff. But nonetheless, I started researching David. And I find out that David had a recording contract with Elektra Records from 1969 to about 1972. And worked with Benny fucking Taupin, who, Bernie fucking Taupin, I'm sorry, Bernie fucking Taupin. You might know him as the guy who writes the lyrics to Elton John's songs. David was supposed to be the American answer to Leonard Cohen. And you can tell that a lot through his music. His music is pretty much monologues of different characters, very, very Brechtian in nature. Some of them are very harsh characters. As a result, his music is very cult-like in nature. It wasn't very successful. Didn't really cross over the United States. As a result, it was very hard to find. And I got home that freshman year, and I scoured all over, and I found a record store in Modesto, of all places, that had rarities. And I bought something for I think like $35. And my mom had a record player that was functionable back in '97. And I remember putting on his eponymous album, s- and he playing Downriver. And it just felt so wonderful to hear it crackle and click. But following fall, sophomore year, I enrolled in his directing class. And it was just delightful just to learn his mind and to learn how he saw the ability to use language as a director to convey that into creating this sort of landscape and emotion and drive that you want with your actors and your lighting designers and costumers and so forth. And continuing to be in his thrall and inspired by him as a friend as well. Later that year, he had to take a sabbatical. Didn't say why, and then he never really came back. It turned out by that time he was undergoing lymph node cancer, and by the time my junior year rolled around, he had died. And I never stopped looking for CDs of his music, trying to find all of his albums, and it was a difficult search because no one had really transcribed them, no one had really modified them or imported them or localized anything. And by the time I'd say maybe 2004 came around, I finally found a Canadian import of all the music, and I eagerly snapped them up for probably like 4 times as much what they would have cost normally. And now I have them, and it's like hearing his voice again. All the songs so earnest, true, and ooh, wistful. And listen to them sometime. Along Downriver, there's a song called "Happy Day." What a happy day! What a groovy morning! Come and play with me. This is my garden, and you're welcome on this special day. Hey people, can you hear the children singing? Hey, what a lot of love there is. Have you ever said yes to something you weren't sure about and ended up having a great time? You're damn right I did. Thanksgiving 2015. An orphan's Thanksgiving dinner with a bunch of strangers and my friend Carol. I am not great around strangers and strange in parties, and I didn't really want to go. I was feeling bad about myself at the time, but I felt like I owed Carol that boon because she went to see Hobo when a lot of people didn't see Hobo. So I did. And there I happened to meet this really sweet, sarcastic woman who just just kind of mesmerized me. She was very sassy and strong and couldn't take my eyes off her. And that was Miss Stacy DeWitt. And because of that, things ended up being really, really wonderful. Last question. Do you and Stacy have different products which you use for different ailments? Not quite, but we differ on the amounts. You see, I like to use medication as intended. Stacy prefers to use it as sort of a loose interpretation of the rules. I will take ibuprofen, for example, twice every 4 hours. She will take them 4 times. So 4 every 4 hours. Because she's a Terminator. She's pretty strong and she's had to take a lot of medicine in her days. So it doesn't really help her as much. So she needs much, much more medicine to make things actually help out.